There's an overwhelming amount of financial advice in the news and on social media. Who do you listen to? Are they looking out for what's best for you? How do you tune out the noise? In this podcast, trusted advisors Emily Agosto, CPA, and Amanda Vaught, JD, bring their extensive education and experience to delve into all aspects of personal finance. Emily and Amanda make topics like investing, taxes, and financial planning interesting and accessible. And they provide a framework to help you think through the plethora of financial advice and news out there. Are you ready to start making the best personal financial decisions for you? Welcome to Connecting the Dollars with Propel Financial Advisors.
Hello, Amanda.
Hey, Emily. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting into 2023 here. It's always a little bit, it's like such a transition, right? For something that's just like one day, it's the next year, but it's really mentally more than that, right?
Totally. We're recording this in early January, so not sure when exactly it'll be posted, but do you have any New Year's resolutions for this year?
Yes, I have a few. One of them, I have been doing good so far, is to start a new strength training routine.
Awesome.
Oh, I've been getting in my push-ups and my squats. That feels good. How about you?
Yeah, I've got a couple random things on my list. Like I want to get better at swimming. I want to practice drums a little more. So I have to like really refine those and set some smart goals, if you will, to get that stuff done.
Yeah, I know. It's always like, am I going to feel this way again in February? So maybe, I don't know when this will get posted, but if you're watching this in February, maybe some of this little conversation will stir those New Year's feelings in you to get you back on track, or take a minute and do an assessment and see how far you got on your New Year's goals.
Yeah.
I could be accountable to you, Emily. I can check in with you in February and see how you're doing on your
Thank you.
drumming.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure in February you'll ask me and I'll be like, yeah, I've done 0 push-ups for the past week.
Well, when you visit me, we'll do our push-ups together.
But I'm gonna stay optimistic. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna
and you can always restart.
Yes, you can always restart. Yes. So
Okay.
I like that. But I think, always restart, that goes into a lot of, we didn't talk about any financial New Year's goals, but we'll be talking about a few of them today. But that's always a good thing to keep in mind. Like, just because you don't do it doesn't mean you can't do it later, or like let feeling bad about not doing something prevent you from actually getting it done.
Yes, that's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I came across this article. It's actually written by AARP, and it's called 6 Money Habits to Break in 2023. And usually these kind of articles seem like a little clickbaity, and it's like, okay, I'm not even gonna take a look at them, but I kind of agreed with most of them. So I thought we could just go through them really quick and maybe add our commentary.
Yeah, and we'll put a link in the show notes to the article if you want to read through it yourself. But why don't you go ahead with number 1, Emily?
Okay, so this first one says, this is a habit you should break, is constantly checking your portfolio's value. And after the 2022 market decline, I think that's something that a lot of people might have started that habit by checking their portfolio all the time. And we generally agree, like even in a good market, you don't need to be checking your portfolio value all the time, especially if you're someone who's investing for the long term. Because if you're checking it all the time, it could lead to emotional decisions. Like if you see your account go down a certain amount, you may be inclined to want to pull that money out. But there's always a downside to that, especially because you can miss out on some upside when the market does come back. What do you think, Amanda?
I think that happens in the short term. It makes people scared. And then there's so many studies that show this can impact you for the rest of your life, really. If you get spooked by one downturn in the market and that causes you to put in some sell that locks in the losses, and then it's an emotional thing and people get overwhelmed and they're like, I can't do this anymore, that leads to, worse outcomes over the long term. And so, there's so many, yes, you do need to log into your 401k every once in a while and make sure everything's okay. But this, professional studies show the fewer times you check your 401k balance, the better performance people have over the long term. And that's what most people, everyone.
Yeah.
The lawyer in me always wants to hedge. I can't say everyone, but I'll say most people want to achieve, right, better returns.
Definitely. And this article references that over the last 42 years, that the last 35 years ended in a positive return. So that's just some historical statistic, and that's the S&P 500. But we are also thinking about this from like a behavioral standpoint, because it's like anything, if you're doing it too much, it could become detrimental, right? So maybe if you're checking your portfolio every day and it's stressing you out, maybe try to wean checking your portfolio every day to once a week, and then maybe once every other week, and maybe once a month. It's just
and
like
find
little things.
Yeah, and find a productive substitute for that habit. So if you get the itch, I want to log on and just check it, think, okay, this is important, but also what else is important to me? Is it my relationship with my spouse? Is it a friend? Like, maybe spend that time on focusing on something that's important to you. Maybe it's a new hobby that you've wanted to start in the new year. Something else. Try to find a way to redirect that energy.
Yeah, I like that. And that's very actionable, instead of just like saying, well, statistics say this. It's something that you could actually put into practice in your life.
Yeah.
So the second habit they're saying to break is downplaying the risk of cybercrime. And we've talked about this a little bit in terms of making sure you have good passwords and things of that nature, maybe using a password security program like LastPass. But if you've never been the victim of identity theft, and I hope you haven't been, but if you have, like I have, it's such a pain, and like it's really worth it to just be really wary of where your account information is, who has access to it, and could you stand to do like an audit of your passwords and just do a little bit of a check.
Yeah. And I do think that there are a lot of people who are victims of these types of cyber crimes. And then there can be a lot of shame that comes along with it. Like, I should have done that. I'm embarrassed, and then those feelings can prevent you from taking action in the future. And so this is a kind of thing that happens a lot. We see it with clients. And it's okay to ask for help. It's a thing that happens, and don't feel bad about it. Just go ahead and do what you can to take preventative measures. But if you have been a victim, do what you can to try to fix it. And if you do get overwhelmed, ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay, moving on to this third habit to break. It says making minimum payments on your credit card. So what do you think about this one, Amanda?
Oh, this one is such a hard one, because there's so many behavioral issues and everybody is so different out there that it's just like trying to generalize this, I find a little bit problematic. But some people make the minimum payment on their credit card because they have to, like they don't make enough money, or they lost a job, or some other circumstance in their life has put them in this situation. And that's not a habit. That's just something that happened. Life. And I don't want to shame people who are in that position and that's all they can do. If they are in that position, you want to deal with an underlying issue. What caused you to get there? How can you make a change? That's what I would be looking at it from that kind of point of view.
Yeah. And if you are someone, maybe like you don't even realize like that you only are making the minimum payment and you could pay more, then that would be, I guess, it's not exactly a habit that you're trying to break, but it's more of like an overview of just being a little more aware of your money going out each month.
Yeah, yeah. And that's gets into a little bit one of the how to break the habit section in this article. They say one strategy is to transfer your balance to a zero interest card. And yeah, like that strategy can work for somebody who's really diligent with their money, but typically someone who's really diligent with their money doesn't have a large credit card balance anyway. But people who do have a credit card balance, if they have more credit cards, that can just lead to more troublesome behaviors. Wouldn't you say, Emily?
Yeah, that could definitely backfire if you're like, oh, all of a sudden I have 0% interest, then I might as well use it to buy this other thing or to like, do this other thing that I shouldn't be focusing on. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, the focus. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't focus on opening new credit cards. I would focus on getting that debt paid off, adjusting your budget, getting a second job, trying to get a raise, trying to get a better job to help you pay that debt down. If you are really in bad debt, talk to a bankruptcy attorney, and you might need to go that route, depending on the situation you're in. So
yeah, so it's not like it really is, it depends on the underlying issue.
Yeah. And I'll just say in the section of this article, they do give a few links to debt counseling services, which I think that that could be a good route if that's you.
Yeah. Okay. This next habit hits close to home for me. It says to break the habit of procrastinating on your taxes.
Nobody does that, right, Emily?
No, everyone has their stuff in February 1st. It's great.
No, we don't. Nobody likes paying their taxes. Everybody wants to not deal with it, but
yeah. And the main reason this article is saying is that don't procrastinate on your taxes because you are, in the event there's an error or something needs to get fixed, you still have time to deal with it before the filing deadline. And if you wait until the last minute, you're more likely to rush and potentially make a mistake, or your tax preparer is rushed and overwhelmed and might, not be able to give you the best accurate information based on what they have. So there's a lot to say here, and I'll try to stick to some practical things. But if you do work with a tax preparer and for whatever reason, you just don't have your stuff until April 1st, if they say to do an extension, listen to them and trust them because speaking from experience, by April 1st, we are super just brain dead. I mean, I don't want to say we're not, doing accurate work. It's just like we've done so many returns already, and you're probably at the end of a really long line of people if you're just getting your stuff in on April 1st. So typically, if you work with someone and you think you're going to owe, they'll do their best to get you an estimate, because paying, what did you say earlier? You said extending your taxes does not mean paying your taxes late.
Right. Yeah. You still have to pay your tax by April 15th, but you can still file the extension.
Yeah.
Because filing an extension can be a lot better than having to file an amended return later.
Definitely.
I don't know if there is an exception to that, but yeah.
But also, if you're going to be wanting, say you're someone who wants to buy a home this summer and that's your goal, get your taxes in as soon as possible so they can be done accurately and you can have those finances that your mortgage broker is going to ask for. Or if there's anything else that, you're starting a business or taking a loan out for some other reason, taxes are a huge part of that. So don't expect a tax preparer to be able to turn your tax return around in, a day or two. That's all I wanted to say there.
Yeah, no. And I think, I think it's important to recognize that if you are working with a professional tax preparer, realize they probably have 100 other clients 200 other clients, whatever the number is.
Mhm.
An emergency for you is not going to be an emergency for them because they only have so many hours in the day. And with so many clients, it's just not practical. So please just keep that in mind. Your tax preparer is your friend. They're not your friend, but you
They're
want
on
to
your
have a good,
side.
they're on your side. That's what I mean. They want to help you. They want you to, do your taxes properly. And, I think it's a relationship. It's not just you work for me, you're supposed to do what I say. It's no, we work together, to get this done. So
Yes, that's really nice to add.
yeah.
Okay, this next one is kind of another behavior dependent type of thing, but they're saying this habit to break is putting expenses on autopilot. What do you think about that one, Amanda?
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a mixed thing. I mean, it really depends on the person. They're talking here about subscriptions that you might want to cancel, monthly expenses that just sort of get billed to your account, and how if you have those things on autopilot, you sort of forget about them, and then it's good every once in a while to go in and check on them. So, that advice makes sense, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Because I think some things would help you stay on track. Putting certain expenses on autopilot is probably a good strategy for some people for paying certain bills. But yeah,
yeah.
it's just like
Mhm.
don't let it get too excessive, or I don't know. I
Yeah,
found
you don't
out,
want to be paying late fees, right?
yeah,
Because you're just paying a bill. That's not good either.
yeah, we found out that so I had like one music program and my husband had another one, and it turned out that he could just add me to his and it was free. So, just things like that, like just do a quick little check in every now and then.
Yeah, but I do think, this a lot of these things are focusing on the spending side, like running up your credit card bill, paying your bills. And yes, we have to deal with those, but I do think we need to get into the saving side. One habit you need to add is probably to look at how much you're saving every month, not just how much you're spending,
Definitely.
which I guess segues into the next one.
Yeah,
In a way. Um,
this last habit to break is postponing joy.
yes.
So, yeah, if you've been saving diligently and you're very focused on savings goals, um, enjoy yourself and use that money on something or an experience or something you've been wanting for a long time, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, because there's short-term financial goals and financial plans, and there's long terms. And so, yes, you need to have your financial plan, for retirement in order, make sure your savings is up on that. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun in the meantime or save up for short-term goals, right?
Definitely. And there's a lot of people who have no problem spending. Sometimes I am that person. But, like we work hard. If you're listening to this, you probably are trying to be better with your money, or, trying to just find some tips to help you be better with your money. But yeah, also don't forget about that side of things, that you get to reap the rewards by being diligent.
Yeah. It's like everything, right? It's finding a balance.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So
Well, that's a pretty good list, I think.
I think so too. I was just trying to think if I could add anything else to that, but I do think it's just really dependent on the person. Do
Definitely.
you have a problem with saving, or do you have a problem with spending? Different people are different, and it's, um, I think I was recently talking to a prospective person who was saying that they were hesitant about working with a financial advisor, financial planner, because they're worried about being judged for wanting to buy these expensive shoes. And you're just like, well, no, that's not what financial planners do.
Yeah, we're not here to judge
We
you.
help you, we help you figure out how you can afford to buy these expensive shoes, because, if that's something you love, that's, what you should be spending your money on.
Right.
And, different people might have a different budget, or about how many number of shoes they can buy a year or
Mhm.
per month or whatever, the number is. but
Yeah, we don't, I mean, it's easy to judge people like around you. I mean, if
yeah,
you're watching this podcast on YouTube, I was just holding my foster cat, and like the amount of money I spend on the cats is probably ridiculous to someone, but then I would never spend X amount of money on something they might think is normal. So it really just, it's personal, like we always say, personal finance is personal. And especially with being financial advisors with our clients, where we may like, if you ask us, is it a good investment to buy a boat or, something, some large ticket item, and it's not really jiving with what, with your savings goals, then, we'll give you our advice, but we're never going to tell you not to spend money on something. It's your money at the end of the day. And, we're here to just guide you.
yeah. Or yes, you can buy the boat, but if you want to retire at age 65, you might have to, retire at age 66 instead, which
Exactly.
could be fine for you. Could be
Yeah.
fine to do that trade-off, but I think that gets into this thing they call postponing joy. You don't have to postpone everything just to like try to save up your money, because at the end of the day, we're not living our life just to make money, right? Greed is not good in our worldview. It's, how do you enjoy yourself? And I do want to recommend, there's Ramit Sethi has a book. It's what it's called, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, I think it's called, but he does a podcast where he walks people through some of these spending decisions and savings decisions and gets into some of these behavioral issues we've been discussing. I think it can be really illustrative. I don't know how they walk through it. And so I would recommend that podcast if you feel like you're having trouble with this postponing joy kind of feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe next time I won't have a crazy cat when we are recording in my office, but she currently has to be.
No, I think
she currently has to be in here.
Somebody said that, the Zoom thing is over, where the cat shows up or the kids run in or whatever. And I don't think it's over. I think it's enhances the video, Emily. So.
I mean, I enjoy her being in here, but
yes.
Anyway. But no matter what time you listen to this podcast, whether it is around New Year's or it's, over the summer, let's reiterate again that you can start whenever you're motivated, or maybe you need to reach out to a friend and say, hey, can you help me get motivated to meet this goal? Because accountability really works for some people. So,
and I do think if any of our listeners want to reach out and let us know if they're working on any of these, we'd love to hear if any of these tips are working for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you think and what you're working on for 2023.
Yeah, so you can find all our information at connectingthedollars.com. Our YouTube channel is Propel Financial Advisors. You can just search for that, all one word. And we'll have links to everything we talked about in the show notes today. And you can see oh boy, she just epic failed there.
And don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Oh, is that what we're supposed to say?
Yeah, that's what my 7-year-old says.
Excellent.
She hears repeats from other YouTubers. So
can we hashtag cat fails for that?
Yes.
For this video? Okay. All right, everyone. I think that concludes today's podcast, and we'll talk to you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
That will do it for this episode of Connecting the Dollars. Nothing discussed in this episode should be considered legal, financial, or tax advice. If you like what you heard, please subscribe for more at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your content. When you do, please give us a rating and a review. To see the links we mentioned in our show, along with other great Propel Financial Advisors content, go to connectingthedollars.com. You can find our past episodes there and subscribe to our newsletter. And if you're still here because you have a general question, you can email us directly at info@connectingthedollars.com. Or, if you're interested in working with us, click the Schedule a Consultation button on our website. Thank you for listening.